In August 1966, hundreds of posts appeared across Usenet newsgroups worldwide. Each one had the same subject line: Markovian, Parallax, Denigrate. The content of the posts was not a message. It was strings of words with no grammar, no sentences, and no apparent meaning. Words like jitterbugging, carina, sidelights, innards, charms, followed by more words with no logic connecting them until the post ended. Then it stopped. The account went silent. The name attached to it, Sandra Foster, does not appear anywhere else on the internet. No profiles, no records, no trace of a person. The posts are still there. They have not been edited or removed in the past 30 years. Nobody has explained them. Today, we're going to walk through the 3 explanations people have offered for the Markovian, Parallax, Denigrate, in the order they became harder to dismiss. Act 1. The simplest explanation starts with the name. Markovian refers to a Markov chain, a mathematical process developed by Russian mathematician Andrei Markov in the early 1900s, in which each state in a sequence depends only on the state immediately before it. By 1996, computer scientists were already using Markov chains to generate synthetic text. Feed the algorithm enough source material, and it produces strings of words that approximate language without meaning anything. The subject line, by this reading, is a signature. Someone built a Markov chain text generator, ran a test across Usenet newsgroups, and named the test after the algorithm they used. This explanation is clear. It requires no conspiracy, no code, no hidden purpose. It fits the technical moment. The mid-1990s internet was largely an unmoderated sandbox where researchers, hobbyists, and early developers ran experiments without much oversight or documentation. Things like this happened. For years, this was the accepted answer. An early bot test, possibly spam. Move on. Except that infrastructure does not hold up. Every Markov chain text generation project from that era with any institutional backing left a record. A researcher's name, a university affiliation, a paper, a mention on a mailing list. The experiments that were actually running in 1996 are traceable because the people running them were trying to produce results they could publish. The Markovian Parallax Denigrate account left none of that. The Sandra Foster name doesn't connect to any researcher, lab, company, or institution working on a natural language generation in 1996. The domain the posts were sent from was a placeholder address, the kind used in technical documentation to indicate a fake email. You cannot send mail from a placeholder domain. You cannot use it to authenticate a Usenet post. The posts exists. The technical pathway that should have created them doesn't. A legitimate bot test from 1996 leaves a footprint, a server, a thesis, someone's name on something. The Markovian Parallax Denigrate left none of those things. And that changes what we're looking at. Act 2. A bot test is passive. If your goal is to verify that an algorithm produces plausible text, you run it, document the output, and publish your findings. Anonymity isn't the goal. Attribution is. You want credit. Someone who needed to be untraceable had a goal entirely different from theirs. Starting around the mid-2000s, internet researchers began applying closer scrutiny to the word strings inside the posts. The original assumption that the content was pure algorithmic noise started to crack. Multiple independent analysts noted that the post contained an unusually high concentration of proper nouns, directional terms, and words associated with time intervals. Genuinely random text generation doesn't produce that kind of categorical clustering. It produces uniform noise. These posts produced noise with a shape. The concept underlying that observation is steganography. Steganography is the practice of hiding a message inside an apparently innocent container. Where encryption scrambles a message to make it unreadable, steganography hides the fact that a message exists at all. A string of random-looking words is a near-perfect steganographic container. The message isn't in the content. It's in the pattern. Which letter position, which word index, which numerical relationship between posts. To a casual reader, the posts look like junk. To someone who knows what they're looking for, they might read differently. By the mid-2000s, an ARG community had landed on the puzzle theory as the most compelling explanation. An ARG, an alternate reality game, is an interactive narrative that uses the real world as its platform. Players are given fragmentary, cryptic information and asked to assemble it into something coherent. The first widely recognized ARG launched in 2001. The Markovian Parallax Denigrate appeared 5 years before that. If it were an ARG, it would be the first one. An unannounced puzzle was planted in public internet archives in 1996, waiting for someone to find it and solve it. Nobody did. Over the years, multiple decode attempts produced partial results. Researchers identified word sequences that, read across specific posts in a specific order, appeared to form fragments of coherent sentences. Numerical relationships between word positions that didn't appear in control samples of genuine algorithmic text. Possible references to news events from August 1996 are embedded in the word selection. None of it was ever confirmed. Every decode produced something that could be meaningful, or could be the human brain finding patterns in noise, the way it always eventually does, given enough time and enough desperation to find an answer. The puzzle, if there was one, was either designed to remain unsolved, or it was never meant to be found by the people who stumbled across it. That second possibility is where the third explanation begins. Act 3. To understand why the intelligence theory holds together, you need to understand what was happening between government agencies and the internet in 1996. The crypto wars were not a metaphor. From roughly 1993 to 1999, the United States government actively fought to prevent strong encryption from becoming commercially available. The NSA drove that effort. Their stated concern was that encrypted civilian communication would collapse intelligence gathering. They pushed for key escrow systems, export controls on encryption software, and legal access frameworks that would preserve their ability to read private communications. What they were less public about was what they were doing in the meantime. Documents released after 2013 confirmed that the NSA had been running internet monitoring programs since the early 1990s. By 1996, they had systems reading Usenet traffic in real time. Every post, every thread, every account. They also had an active operations that used public internet infrastructure as a communications layer. A dead drop signals operation works like this. two parties need to exchange information without creating a traceable communication event. Instead of sending a message, they post something to a public platform that both parties monitor. The actual communication is in the post structure, not its surface content. To an outside observer, it appears to be noise. The sender and recipient are never in direct contact. Nothing that appears to be communication exists anywhere. This is not speculation. Intelligence agencies have used variants of this technique in documented operations for decades. The platforms change, the principle doesn't. Now apply that frame to the Markovian Parallax Denigrate. August 1996 was a specific moment. The Atlanta Olympics had just ended. The Centennial Olympic Park bombing on July 27, 1996, killed 2 people and injured 111 more. The investigation was active. The bomber had not been identified. Federal agencies were running an intensive counterterrorism operation through August and into the fall. High stakes, high volume, time-sensitive communications. The posts appeared in August 1996 across multiple news groups simultaneously from an account with no verifiable origin. They stopped. The account went dark. Sandra Foster never appeared on the internet again. No legitimate bot test ends this way. When a researcher stops running a text generation experiment, the accounts and logs don't disappear. They go inactive. The trail stays. An operation ends differently. When the communication is complete, the channel closes. The infrastructure retires. The name attached to it was never real, meaning it was never meant to withstand scrutiny. Then, there's the name itself. Parallax is a navigation term. It describes the apparent displacement of an object when viewed from 2 different positions, and, by extension, a technique for triangulating a precise location without direct contact. In intelligence tradecraft, a parallax operation uses 2 separate observation points to determine a target position without either observer exposing themselves. Denigrate is a standard usage means to disparage or belittle. In intelligence terminology, it has a second meaning: undermining a source's credibility in the eyes of a third party. A denigration operation is designed to make someone appear unreliable, often as a precursor to removing them from a position that gives them access to sensitive information. Read through that frame. The subject line is not a technical term. It is a description of an operation type. Markovian, disguised as algorithmic noise. Parallax, triangulation from 2 points without direct contact. Denigrate, a campaign to discredit a target. That reading has never been confirmed. It has also never been disproven. 30 years later, the facts remain the same as in 1996. The posts are still live in Usenet archives. The word strings are still there. Jitterbugging, carina, sidelights, innards, charms. And they still don't mean anything obvious. The Sandra Foster account has never been traced to a real person. The domain origin has never been explained. No researcher, institution, company, or individual has ever stepped forward to claim the posts as their work. The bot test theory needs a researcher who left no trace. The ARG theory needs a puzzle that has remained unsolved for 30 years. The intelligence theory needs an operation that, by design, was never meant to be found. Every explanation asks you to accept something without an answer. That's what makes the Markovian Parallax Denigrate different from most internet mysteries. It wasn't buried. It wasn't hidden behind a login, a dead link, or a corrupted file. It was posted in a public archive where it would sit indefinitely in plain view in a format that invites analysis. Whoever put it there knew people would eventually look. They put it there anyway. The internet is full of things that were supposed to disappear. This one did not.